Babe of the day. Babe of the day. Dian Parkinson. Wow. Just wow. If you were around in the 1970s, 80s, or 90s, and a male of any age, you knew about Dian Parkinson. She was a beauty queen who made it far bigger than most beauty queens in a most unconventional way. Dian was a sexy model on the daytime game show The Price is Right. She was born as Diana Lynn Batts, and under this name started her professional beauty pageant career in 1965. She ultimately became first runner-up in the Miss World 1965 contest. This attention got her a job as part of Bob Hope's legendary USO show later that year, traveling to Vietnam. She also became queen of the 1965 Bob Hope Desert Golf Classic. In 1966, and still as Diana Batts, she was on the Bob Hope Vietnam Christmas show. In 1967, she married Robert E. Parkinson. He was the executive director of the Miss Universe pageants. Although the marriage only lasted a few years, she kept his last name. In 1974, Dian played a nameless girl in the TV comedy movie Jerry. After that, though, things started bubbling up in a big way. In 1975, she got a part on an episode of The Mary Tyler Moore Show. That same year, she got the biggest role of her life as a model on the game show The Price is Right, one of the famous Barker's Beauties. From 1975 until 1993, they had her dress up in every sexy outfit imaginable. Still, she maintained a ladylike quality. With just The Price is Right, Dian Parkinson became one of the biggest sex symbols of the next 3 decades. She really didn't venture too far out of that zone. Dian acted in 4 episodes of the action TV series Vegas, playing 3 different characters. She was in the pilot episode, then in another episode for season 2, then in a 2-parter for season 3. At least part of the reason she was in Vegas was due to her marriage to E. Duke Vincent. They got married in 1977, and he produced many TV shows, including Vegas. She and Vincent would divorce in 1982. Why Dian didn't pursue acting more is anyone's guess. It would seem that it just didn't interest her. I think she liked being a beauty queen. She just used television as her medium instead of pageants. Although she didn't do much in the way of acting, she appeared as herself on a number of talk shows and in commercials. Naturally, Playboy magazine wanted Dian to make an appearance. She kept turning them down, but they kept asking. Finally, she made her first appearance in the famous magazine for the December 1991 issue. This was pretty significant. If it hadn't been for this well-received pictorial, Dian Parkinson may have just remained a pop culture icon of the 70s and 80s. This made her as much of a celebrity in the 90s as anyone. As a matter of fact, it helped boost her popularity. After all, she wasn't the only Barker's beauty on The Price is Right. She made another Playboy appearance in the May 1993 issue. That same year, she had her own special edition Playboy magazine and even made a special Playboy video of her very own. Also in 1993, she became the official spokeswoman for EZ Crunch exercise equipment. Her popularity was at an all-time high. Then, she did something that was quite unexpected for her many admirers. She quit The Price is Right. Bob Barker made the announcement, standing next to Dian, that it was going to be her last episode. This aired on June 18, 1993. The reason given is that she was pursuing other interests. By the next year, however, it was revealed that Dian Parkinson was suing Bob Barker for sexual harassment during her time on The Price is Right. This got really ugly for a while, and it was the first time that Bob Barker's name got dragged through the dirt on such a big public level. There were rumors long before that, and tabloids always like to talk. A lot of he said, she said was going on. Bob even admitted to having a short-lived relationship with Dian after the death of his wife. Dian was still a public figure in 1994, but she was winding down her appearances for sure. The biggest thing she did that year was make an appearance on the animated talk show Space Ghost Coast to Coast. In April of 1995, Dian withdrew her lawsuit. She claimed that it was too costly and that it had been taking a toll on her health. Pretty much, after this, Dian simply took herself out of the spotlight. She had just had enough. As a side note, Dian Parkinson was not the only one to make such claims against Bob Barker. There was a lot of dirty stuff that went on behind the scenes of that show, and it all centered around Bob. Some of the other models were drawn into his dispute with Dian Parkinson, and the legal hijinks went on for years. It's sad to say, but as bad as it ended for Dian, she was one of the luckier Barker's beauties. I don't like to dwell on the bad stuff. What Dian did on the show was cool back then, and will always be cool. She carried herself with a certain amount of confidence and dignity. The old episodes are still fun to watch. Anything outside of that is just show business politics. Dian deserves to be remembered. For one thing, she was on TV so much in a 20-year span of time that she became very familiar with countless people. When you see someone that much, even on television, they turn into a buddy. For another thing, she was an absolute jaw-dropping knockout. Dian Parkinson wins the prize of being a Babe of the Day, Babe of the Day.